Hi guys, welcome to Of Course It's Miracles, A Course in Miracles. I'm your host, Candace Johnson. Today I'm doing a bonus episode on the full blue moon happening on August 19th in Aquarius. Today I decided to do this bonus episode because I found the symbology of this moon to be really important, and I didn't want you guys to miss out on any of the signs necessary for you to continue to enlighten your path. So we're going to be covering this concept of the moon. I channeled the moon and I have a lot of information for you there. Then we have to go over the symbology behind the color blue. Then we have to go over the details on the throat chakra, what you might not know, this new information that I've gathered. Then we will be looking at the I Ching, the gene keys, the human design behind gate 49 and gate 30. It's all about a revolution and a celestial fire, followed by the Sabian symbols, and then all of the other astrology surrounding this blue moon. So thank you for joining me today. If you'd like to see the video for this, there is a link in the description that leads to the YouTube channel where you can see me live and all of the images that I have associated with the video. We have a lot to cover. Thank you for being here. Let's get into it. Welcome to the monthly celestial guide of Course It's Miracles, A Course in Miracles podcast. I'm your host, Candace Johnson. In this monthly update, we will explore the current energies from a symbolic perspective, using tools like the I Ching, astrology, and human design. Our aim is to help you better align with your divine timeline and make the right choice. Join me as we dive deep into the cosmic influences of the month and uncover the wisdom they hold for our spiritual journey. Let's get started. This entire week, I've been in conversation with the moon, and it's been insanely delicious. And I felt the need to come after having this incredible dream where the words blue, 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 blue kept coming to me. And then the next day I realized that the moon was blue, and I thought, okay, that's what that sign is. So first, I'm going to read you what I wrote down from my channeling so that you get an understanding of what we're all doing here today. Okay. So the moon is the representation of the divine mother, the holy mother. The father is the sun, the mother is the moon, the earth is the child. So like the Holy Trinity. And this is a very nurturing sign. The moon sign in your chart is all about how you nurture, how you feel nurtured, how you mother this divine feminine essence within each of us. And as of late, I find that with all of the things going on in our current reality, the divine feminine is seeking to come up and ignite herself. And she's speaking louder than ever, sometimes through contrast. And it's time for us to look at this larger message of even what the planets are here to offer us. So I'm going to read you what I wrote. This is your holy creation. We, as in the planets, are tasked with giving you guidance. We are tasked with nurturing you, supporting you, strengthening you, but this is your creation. And you have been given the ultimate power, the ability to save it, to lighten it, to enhance it, celebrate it, and as you do, we celebrate you. I am the divine mother, the womb, the timekeeper, the portal of creation. On this holy day, we ask you to nurture yourselves, to find your inner being and love it as we love you. To be so authentic in your creative expression that you pour love like honey from your very being. So much love that it reaches out as far as the light can see. We ask that you pour it on your family, on your friends, on strangers. And we remind you that this energy can change the world. You can shift every experience. When you pour this honey out to your family, to your friends, and to strangers, you give them the strength to pour that energy out to their family, to their friends, to other strangers. And this is how we change the world. My force is connected to wisdom, to charging or being in charge of the elements, to the throat chakra, to the color blue, and to magnetizing the experience. This is about expanding the environment with the energy and vibration of love. We task you with honoring the divine within you, the holy nurturer you are, the holy lover that you are. You are made of love. You are love. Love your creation. This message really resonated with me. And this idea that it's our job to turn to the planet for the signs and the strength necessary for us to do the work. But the work is inherently ours to do. This is our reality. And we have the ability and the power within us to make it exactly what we want it to be. And the power of the planets comes in to give us the strength, to give us the insight, to give us the wisdom on how we can do so. But this power within us is so great that they wouldn't dare step in to try to force or coerce you to do the work because you have the ability to do so. And it would be almost an insult to take that task from you because that's what we came here for, right? So now that I've gone over that, I want to go into the color blue. I've been doing a lot of channeling on this color. This is what came to me in my dream. And I want to talk to you about what this color means on a deeper level based on some information that I picked up. Topical skincare companies have lied to women for years, making false claims that it's going to be this cream or that special serum that heals your skin issues. But in reality, they're only dealing with the issue on a surface level. So you have to keep constantly buying and buying and buying, and you never actually find a solution. Your skin is your body's largest organ, and it's got two main functions: protect the inside organs while it's taking information in and letting all the bad stuff out. Trying to fix your skin issues by only dealing with the surface issue is akin to smearing cream on the oil light in the car. This is just the trigger that something internal needs to be adjusted. My name is Candace. I'm an herbologist, formulator, and the founder of Luludi Skincare. And I created Luludi Skincare so that we can look at the real issues behind your chronic skin concerns and heal them for good. If you're ready to go on your skincare journey, take our quiz, determine the root cause behind your issues so that we can find the solution for you. So blue light and the color blue, wearing the color blue to signify this, is connected to divine wisdom. It's connected to the throat chakra. It's connected to the right side of the body, and it draws in energy to magnetize the body. It's connected to air. It's considered a cold or a yin energy. And this color helps you sleep. It helps soothe you. That is the power of the color blue. The reason that the full moon is blue is because currently, if you think of the sun sending out these giant plasmic rays, and it uses the archetypes of the planets to organize that information. So as it comes through the moon, it is trying to magnify this divineness within us and this yin energy, which can be associated with chaos. But chaos is only what is necessary before order. It's the place of the infinite, the center of the black hole, what is necessary, almost like this destruction that has to happen before order can come in divinely. All right. So as you see the color blue today, or if you start thinking about the color blue today, know that it is the moon speaking to you about where you may need to enhance your divineness, where you may need to embrace the divine feminine within you, where you might need to soften your expression. Because again, like I said before, this is connected to the throat chakra. The throat chakra is the vibrational ham, literally, of the body. And it is what magnetizes and turns or transforms this plasmic ray that surrounds us into form. It is an incredibly powerful vehicle necessary for creation. I was reading this book that I've been talking about a lot here about the 12 stories, the Golden Star. And one of the main things they talk about is how there is this structure within the universe. And as human beings, we charge or speak to the elements, the atoms, the atomic structure. And in this book, it was saying that the throat chakra is connected to us commanding the atomic structure. As in, all of this reality is yours. This is your manifestation. The words that you use can either kill it or bring it to life. It can tell it to go left. It can tell it to go right. You command all of the elements, especially think of it as in commanding your body, this atomic structure that belongs to you, telling your heart to send unconditional love, using words like I am sick versus I am healed, I am broke versus I am abundant. Those are spells literally casting out into your environment, and what you experience are those words that you've projected. So learning how to use our throat chakras wisely, we have to learn to speak our minds in a way that is able to properly utilize the plasmic form in a positive direction to see the changes that we want to see. Our words and our voice are so important. And a lot of us have to learn, myself included, how to use this voice responsibly to make the changes in the world that we want to see. And where we might be using our voice inappropriately will show up in our experience to teach us where we might need to shift. The throat chakra is connected to the thyroid, it's connected to the tongue, to taste, to words, to our hormones, fluctuations in the body. It's an incredibly important area of the body. And literally, the back is how you, as a Course in Miracles student, as we're trying to properly reflect the light in the projection as clearly and cleanly as possible, we are a voice for God. We are a voice for Source. And with a clear throat chakra, you are able to communicate in a way that actually reaches the heart of another person. And you can tell immediately when you're not doing that, when their triggers go up, meaning your triggers go up. So working on the throat chakra, there's a couple of ways we can do that. You can touch the chakra, both the front and the back, and send energy there. You can imagine the color blue and sweep it through the area. You can use ham which is the tone of the chakra, and just go through doing a couple of mantras a day with that sound. You could massage the area, especially focusing on the thyroid and everything here. But for the next couple of days, you might find that you have something you really need to say. And I don't know about you, but I find my words have a lot of weight and a lot of responsibility behind them. And learning how to speak without the ego being at the forefront is incredibly important to me and something that I've been working on. And knowing when to keep something in versus knowing when to let it out, and when you let it out, how to let it out, is something that I think the moon is here to guide us with right now in our current reality. Okay. So the next thing that I want us to look at is the I Ching, the gene keys, and the human design. And we're going to start with gate 49, which is where the moon is starting. And then we're going to move over to gate 30, which is where the moon will be by the end of the day. It's going to be in these two sectors. Now, gate 49 is connected to the solar plexus. So we know that that is the house where either it's going to be the ego sitting there or source connection to all. It cannot be both. Those are two worlds. All right. And the first thing we're going to look at is this I Ching, which is revolution. And the symbols of the I Ching are fire under water. So I think of like a cauldron bubbling. In this scenario, when the fire is doing what it's supposed to do, the water can do what it's supposed to do. This is how we cook. This is how we bathe. This is how we get hot water. It's a chemical formation. And these two chaotic forms are working cohesively together, right? But at the same time, fire evaporates water and water puts out fire. So change often causes conflict, but conflict is what brings about change. So if we think about the moon, this ultimate mother, this ultimate nurturer, who is the parent of our universe, right? And of us. And this idea that is connected to the throat chakra, and this idea of having to properly communicate for change in a way that is sometimes going to feel like conflict to get to a larger goal. And the best way to view this is to look at what that goal is, okay? And we can really see that goal magnified when we connect it to gate 49, which is all about the tribe, all right? And what do I mean when I say that? So, a couple of things I want you to hear. Ideally, the transformation of forms based on the highest principles and not simply for power. That's the first thing that I want you to hear. Tribal forms of mysticism evolved through the pressure of humanity's need for food, shelter, protection, territory, something to believe in, and something to hold everything together. Okay? It's all about, if you think about the mother as being technically the head of the family, let's be real when we talk about this. She is the one whose energy everyone kind of forms around, and she is in charge of her tribe. And in being in charge of her tribe, she has to determine what is right and wrong and when it is right and wrong. And she has to communicate these needs so that the whole thing works together, so that everyone is cohesive, so that everyone is there to do whatever duties they're supposed to perform, so that everyone's mission is aligned. And without this aligned mission, you probably cannot be at the table. This is exactly what this is saying. There is this thing that is happening where people are splitting. And at this point, it almost feels like the difference between chaos and light, or light and dark, or good and evil. And at some point, there is going to be a splitting of these two different teams. And as the leaders, or somewhere within our divine essence, it is up to us to determine who stays and who goes. Let's take this a little bit further, but just implant that idea in your mind. The channel 19 through 49, that is where these two channels connect, is the glue that determines who belong and who is deserving of the support of the tribe, who gets to come to the table and who doesn't. There is nothing logical or abstract in this frequency. It cannot be superimposed on the tribe as forcing, or it won't work. The code of the tribe, expressed as love, honor, and obey, is what bonds the tribe together. Every member of the tribe owes their life to the life of every other member. In exchange, one is promised the basic needs will be met. Loyalty is one key to the tribe's survival, but here the loyalty is governed by an emotional wave. So it's this idea that we all have a part to play in the essence of the whole. And the only way you can be in this team is to play your part. And someone has to be the one who has to express that. And the throat chakra is saying right now, you have to know who's on your team. You have to get these people aligned so that everyone is doing what is necessary for the next level of growth. Okay? It's not an easy message to give, but this is the message that's coming up. And something tells you, because I've been feeling this emotional wave, that it might be resonating with you as well. So hear this part, because this is really good. The principles of acceptance and rejection, marriage and divorce, and ultimately revolution are the direct result of living with tribal hierarchies influenced by the emotional wave. This translates into you exerting the power to accept or reject a person, or their request for access to your resources, or their appeal to initiate a revolution on their own or someone else's behalf. So someone is coming to you for something, okay? And you have to accept it or reject it. Your sensitivity or insensitivity towards other people and animals and their specific needs is based on the resonance with your own principles. In other words, the people you accept into your circle are those willing to stand by you and support your principles. The rest you will be inclined to reject. Yours is a social agenda for change and reformation. It is particularly focused on food and food distribution, people who have enough to eat and people who don't need to go to war. Revolution is either avoided by filling needs or entered into as a necessary evil or last resort. You might be the one whose acceptance or rejection influences which road is taken to satisfy the needy party. The things that make you nervous are the fear of rejection and the consequences of unpredictability. So it's literally like, as a society, right? Our job is to come together. even though currently within the society, it seems like everyone is trying to split apart. Because we can see right now that there is this level of survival or this level of having to come together to conquer a bigger goal, it is our duty and our responsibility to ensure that the people that we need for that goal are here and the people who cannot fit within that goal are not. And this isn't to say that we don't love them and we don't honor them, but this might not be their path in this reality. And it's time for us to shore up our defenses. Now, one of the craziest things is that we know that as a Course in Miracles students, that you can't really separate yourself from anyone, and that separation is an illusion. But even though separation is an illusion, there is this concept or a need to tighten up our actual groups, not to reject another person, but we have to know who to align with if we're trying to change the world, which is what we came here to do, to bring more light into the world. Now, when we look at this from the concept of the gene keys, it's changing the world from the inside out. The shadow to this is a reaction. The gift is the revolution. And the Siddhi, this higher thing that we're trying to achieve, is a rebirth. Okay. I want you to think about this from the concept of before we have evolved to be the humans that we are. And even though many of us have not evolved to be these humans, there was this level of tribalism that existed among us. We were safe in these groups that we had formed. We knew the people in these groups didn't want to kill us. We knew that the people outside of these groups might have wanted to. And so we have this genetic response to want to kill the person that is not in the group because they might not be safe for us. Now, remember that this is kind of the shadow, this idea of this fear of rejection leading us to either do one of two things: rejecting the other, and it's showing up a lot in intimate relationships. Okay, so close friendships and actual marriages and relationships, where this idea of this fear of rejection comes up because it's harder to be intimate, or there is this feeling of inertia where there's no inertia, where it's inert, where there is no juice left. There's the excitement has dwindled. And all of this is trying to lead towards this revolution. And the idea behind this revolution is that we have to bring up all of the crap below the surface, utilizing our throat chakra for change, even if it looks like it has to go through conflict, and bring it all up. And some of it has to go for anything good to stay, but there are things that have to be burned away. And even just this part where it talks about at a social and political level, revolution brings a dream with them. Revolutionaries bring a dream with them. And with them, that dream is always to implement some form of radical change to government. Unfortunately, this invariably involves the destruction of all things that came before. And usually all of the good as well as the bad has to be destroyed for this new explosive energy of awareness to enter the world. Conflict brings about change. Destruction brings about new. Things have to be wiped away and cleared. And that could just be through communication to get to something greater, which is what we are all trying to fulfill. We know that there is a world that we are trying to get through. This is happening on a collective level and on an individual level. And if you think about it from the most motherly perspective, the moon is trying to say that there is this nurturing aspect with so much love that we are trying to use our voices to change people, change the world, change systems in a very radical way, and the most divine feminine way. It sounds masculine because it seems like it's a blast, but in reality, it's nothing to do with that. It's all about using the voice. And what does that get us to? Really a rebirth and what they call a forking of the species. And it's got to come down to this idea that everybody ain't going with us. Everybody isn't going to be on the other side of whatever changes we're trying to bring about, or there wouldn't be anything to change, right? There's this huge leap in consciousness, and they call it a mystical divorce. And it's a shift of perspective. One where it's no longer about kill or be killed, and it's more about rebirthing the self to escape the vibration of fear. And to do so, we have to realize that every single human isn't going to go through this transformation. and it might split our current species, almost like the difference between the Neanderthal and the Cro-Magnon. This has happened before, where some people have to stay within this old version of reality and some people have to go into this new version of reality. And it's probably like if we're going into this new version of reality, there is this new species, a new version of us that is going to be evolving. And this idea that, are you struggling from any chronic conditions you just can't get rid of? Whether it be hormonal acne, crippling period pain, a feeling of not being able to find and fulfill your purpose, Luluti Skincare is here for you. We use farm-grown, organic, holistic treatments and energy healing to help heal you from the inside out. Everything from our Eurybia collection, which is our algae-based skincare line channeled by the goddess Eurybia, to teas and tinctures that regulate the lymphatic system, ease the adrenal glands, restore the liver, and help you clear up those chronic conditions from the inside by reducing inflammation, all the way up to energy healing through courses and private sessions. If you feel like you need help, I am here for you. Go to luludiskincare.com. That's Loudi skincare.com. You can book a session. You can take one of our amazing courses, from the chakra clearing course to the lymphatic course to a free menstrual course that teaches you everything about your dynamic 28-day cycle, or even check out our skincare line where you can get our sample kit that features a week's worth of products so that you can try everything and find that glow from the inside out. All of it works with source. All of it comes from spirit. All of it is here to help you align with the divine light within you. Again, you can find everything at luludiskincare.com. You can even go to the link at the description in the bio. And really what it comes down to is it's a change that you can't control. You have absolutely no control over. It's really in the growing of your gifts where the change is inevitable, because it's a rebirth of the self, which brings a rebirth of everything. Everything around you will be new. So you won't notice what isn't there anymore, but it is absolutely necessary if you're trying to do what we say we're trying to do, which is change the world, right? And it sounds meaner or more harsh when in reality it says, like, just because we cannot fix the world as it is does not mean that we cannot make the world a better place. Our vision of the perfect future is precisely what creates the necessary frequency shift that will trigger the genetic forking of our species. It will happen because it must happen, but we must still create that happening. That is the paradox. Just wanting to change the world will cause the shift of the world to change, but we cannot change the world unless we want to change the world. And another interesting way to think about it is like change happens from the top and then like trickles down through. So we could be the first wave of an expression that ripples throughout humanity. But to be the first wave of an expression means that someone has to go first. And to go first, you might have to leave others behind. It's like this evolutionary ladder that we are trying to climb to do something for the greater community. So, our moon is starting out at gate 49. You may have been feeling it all day. It's this call to the tribe, this call to finding these groups of people that you align with and rejecting what does not fit into that program, while also remembering that it is for you to fulfill a higher need. You can't reject anyone, even if you wanted to, because we are all connected. But there is this call to align with those that are aligning with you in your purpose so that you can fulfill your mission. The energy goes from here, it stays within the solar plexus, and it moves to gate 30. Now, gate 30 is connected to the idea of the I Ching, clinging to fire. So the symbolism goes from fire underwater to fire over fire. And I find that really interesting because the moon represents water. And then you have this idea of fire, this fuel coming in. And this idea that the fuel burns itself, we really need to look at the light and remember that we are the light, and that if we can find the light in all things, that is the place that we're supposed to be. And isn't that our mission as a Course in Miracles students, to see the light in everything? That is, the energy that is coming up for us right now. So I'm going to read you this I Ching. Flame hangs on to their fuel in order to keep the fire burning. Likewise, in the human world, everything that radiates light or love is dependent upon something else. Through the webs of our interdependence, we see that everything is related, each thing to the other thing. Awareness of your attachment to other people is the key to open the doors to knowing your true place in the world. No human is an island. Fire is also a symbol of liberation, crackling the molecules that will fly away from home. Paradoxically, by clinging to what is natural and appropriate, we gain inner freedom. Given perseverance on your part, this reading indicates success. In spite of challenges, cling to what is luminous in yourself, in others, and in life itself, never forgetting your positive attachment to the highest good. When events seem foreboding or people seem oppressive, remember the good that has been and is yet to be. Holding to this idea is to cling to the power of light, the only force that can illuminate darkness. So, think about Gate 49 being this idea that you have a tribe, and that the idea of rejection, I really want to stick it home here, because I know that we have a purpose in our Course in Miracles to know that everyone is a part of the whole idea of light. But this idea that chaos is required for something new is, if we can see the chaos as good that is pushing us in a certain direction. And instead of the idea or considering of rejecting, if you could think of it as ejecting or moving you to where you truly need to be, we can thank the chaos for existing to bring us to the place where we can see all the light. How are we supposed to fulfill our mission? How are we supposed to be here if there is no chaos for us to conquer? We wouldn't feel right being here in that society. We don't yet live in a world where everything is good, everything is truth, everything is honest. And while everything is light, there are shadows everywhere. And that is what we came here for. So if we came here to see the light and to learn how to elevate above the shadows, aren't the shadows necessary for us to feel like we've conquered something? And if that is the case, when we transition over to this idea where the symbology went from fire underwater to fire over fire, the idea that we even have something to strive for is enough to keep us going. It's enough to keep us alive. And if we can take away the idea that we have to control what the fight is for, what the fight is to, what the fight is from, and instead be happy that we have something to fight. We have this fuel within us to give, to love, to nurture, to ascend, to create, to do all of these things. That is what makes us feel alive. And that, I think, is the point of this moon. And I'm going to read more to you next about the gene keys and the I Ching. Okay, so in human design, this says, the gate of the fates teaches us that life is not what we expected it to be. It is what we allow it to be. Your experiences are conceived from a desire that then meets life on the highs and lows of your emotional wave. The desire can feel like an obsessive hunger that weaves the yearning of different lives together, influencing your every interaction until it is satisfied or fulfilled. The only control you have is over the clarity with which you enter into each experience, not over the outcome. Because desire can only be temporarily assuaged, life without clarity becomes a wild emotional ride. Over time, you see that the freedom to fulfill your wildest dreams is merely an illusion. An unreciprocated desire should not be taken personally. Balance in your life comes through surrender, through accepting what is. In doing so, you need not fear the fates or feel pressured to chase after the fantasies. You have to accept your limitation or place in the larger patterns of life your reflections on feelings and desires deeply while experiencing your humanness becomes a gift to be shared with others. So it's like you don't know where you're going. You cannot really predict every outcome. The only thing you can do is try to find the gift in all of it. It is trying to find the light through every single circumstance so that you don't have to worry so much about overcoming or getting to something or going somewhere, because everything is here and now. And if you can find this way to fulfill this hunger by finding this light in every part of the experience and seeking the clarity in the now, you'll be better off than trying to fulfill some sort of fantasy or some dream that we all keep trying to go on. I think I talked about this during the monthly report. I'm pretty sure I did, but this desire to go somewhere or to be somewhere else and to do something else is going to always keep you in the state of hunger, because you'll never get there. It's in the learning to be here now and the learning to find the clarity in the moment that the gift is. And if we can see that that is where the gift is, and it's inherent in our being to feel this way constantly, we can let go of this idea that this feeling has to be fulfilled through an outside projection. And instead, we have to really focus in on the feeling, go there and see what it's trying to bring up for us. And now, when you look at this from what a Buddhist would say, desire is the key to all human suffering. It's why we suffer. It's because we think that there is more and we're constantly trying to get it. And in reality, when we think about even just the reason why we're here as an organism of Gaia, as an organism of Earth, desire is just the imprint given to us to keep us evolving, to keep us moving, to keep life going forward. We cannot exist without the incessant feeling of desire. And when you can go there and not try to feed it, if you think of it like hunger, if you think of it like almost like this emptiness, it's the black hole that sets at the center of our being that is literally like the snake eating its tail. It's how evolution occurs for expansion. It has no other purpose than that. It's not trying to lead you here. It's not trying to get you there. It's just is. That's a really hard one to get and to really come down to the understanding of. And when we are in discord with this feeling of desire, we either take life too serious. We become too serious about everything. It leads to a stiffening of one's being, physically, emotionally, and psychologically. We begin to take it all too serious, and we think of this desire as only being this fire or this passion, and nothing else can really fulfill it but those things. And it begins to fizzle out because we're tightening up too much. And then on the other hand, we can be too flippant, or too not, we're not in the fuel at all. And it's this idea that we don't even care about what we're doing. It's almost in a careless kind of way where we go about life acting like nothing is in control and nothing really matters. And we become embittered by this experience. So it either forms up as like pessimism or too much control, when in reality, what is sought after and what the gift here is this idea of lightness, letting go and surrendering to the feeling without having to do anything about it, which is incredibly difficult. And if you can take it with a sense of humor, if you can learn to see it as a game that you are playing, and that it's not all, there's this level of having to look at it from a higher state, it's really the way to recognize that you're alive. We wouldn't be here without it. It's a way of saying like your being is lit up. It really requires a detachment from the body and being able to see things from that larger perspective as the soul, to stop taking everything in life so seriously. And when you do this, you become the fire and the fuel. So you become the thing that burns itself. You become the desire and the fulfillment of the hunger by recognizing that you are so much more than the body. You become both things instead of just one. It's like being the light and feeling the light. It is knowing that there is light and that you are light. And when you have both of these experiences together, there is this divine place that you go where nothing really matters at all, which is how you get everything, because it's this detachment from needing it is where everything tends to be, right? It's like when they say, like, if you focus too much on it, you usually are pushing it away from yourself. It's a releasing from all of it, knowing that it's just an integral part of the human experience. If we can get there, if we can go there and be the light that fuels itself, what can't we do? I think this is what the moon is asking of us. They're calling it like a mystical suicide, a surrender to the experience of having to have the experience. It is letting go of all things you desire, a surrendering to all of the things that you think that you want, with the concept, and we know this from atonement, we know this from salvation, we know this from our Course in Miracles. We've been practicing it as we've been working on this. Nothing in this means anything, right? That is where we're going with this. It is through this that more can become available to us, that something new can come in. But if you're clinging to all of these things that might not mean anything, how are you supposed to let in something more? Now, this is why I read you all of these different versions of the symbols, because then when we take the Sabian symbol for this degree, it's going from 24 to 25 degrees in Aquarius, the moon, you really do summarize the entire experience. And the symbol here is a butterfly, right wing, more perfectly formed. Again, remember I talked about the symbol blue being in charge of the right side, and it's to magnetize the experience, to enhance your frequency and your aura. And we've talked about this idea of looking for your tribe, trying to see what fits, what doesn't fit, what you must reject, what you must keep, and then transforming it into finding the light in everything and surrendering to the experience and this concept of desire, right? Well, then you've got this Sabian symbol, and the symbology is transforming emotionality into spiritual wisdom. There is a state of consciousness above duality. That's when you can enhance that idea and release yourself from that desire. To leave duality is to leave the body, okay? Where we can hold in suspension two opposing emotions. As in, we aren't the body, we can come out and see everything from another perspective, a more enlightened, higher perspective, and we don't have to attach ourselves so much to one side or the other side. What we experience as emotions is normally quite disturbing to our sense of peaceful poise. Yet, for those who have worked on themselves, these energies can be transmuted. The sense is here suggestion that when the heavy drag of emotionality is released, an individual can mutate to a more aware state of perception. It is not entirely unlike the expansion of the consciousness that goes hand in glove with the opening of the third eye. So it's this idea that we have to leave behind these wings entirely, the left side, the right, the wrong, the dark, the light, and kind of release ourselves from the body, release ourselves from the experience, be the fire and the flame, be the fuel of the fire and the fire, to have this more enlightened experience, to transmute ourselves to the higher form, to surrender to something greater than ourselves outside of just simply desire, which leaves us unfulfilled. Now, when we look at the actual astrology, we've got the moon in Aquarius. Aquarius, you know, it's all about the other. It's all about community. It's all about all the people in the world that we're trying to change, right? The world in itself. And we also know that right now, we are really in a very large Aquarius time, and Pluto is at 0 degrees in Aquarius again. There's a giant transition happening in this sector of our lives, and I think it's really marking this emotional change before the physical change happens. We've got this nurturing mother divine feminine spirit bringing in this idea of chaos to transition the form with the moon, obviously opposing, or wouldn't be a full moon, the sun in Leo. So the great I am is looking at the great we are and trying to figure out where I am is meeting with we are. and what needs to transition for those two things to conjoin more succinctly. All right. Now, with Mercury also in Leo, there's God is speaking to us. God is our radio receiver in this perspective, where He is talking to us about who we are, who we came to be, how this perspective, how this projection is looking to us, and where within the community what we need to switch for this to projection to clean itself up, to look and align itself in the way that feels more succinct with our reality for this mission that we came here for. Now, usually I don't talk about contraparallels or anything outside of oppositions, squares, and trines, but it is worth noting that the south node, the moon is kind of taking a look to the left of the south node, and what it is it's saying to it. I mean, the south node is all about what we need to leave behind. And it's like an opposite of a sextile. So it's like on the opposite side. It's really trying to discuss with us what needs to be left behind, where we think we are people pleasing in our community, but it's not really getting us anywhere. How are we communicating in our community for the light, to make the proper choice, to know who needs to be here, so that we can form the allegiances and alliances necessary, so that we can do this larger mission that we came here for, with a level of surrender, knowing that this hunger for this experience that we are trying to go on isn't up to us, it is up to God, and it's our job to surrender to the process to allow all of this to take shape. At the same time, we're having a square with Uranus, as in change is in the building. Something has to change in this reality for this to take place. Mars being in Gemini, Uranus being in Taurus. I'm sorry, I'm going to go back to that, saying that there's a change in the physical reality on Earth. Mars being in Gemini, there is going to be some conflict within the communication, all to bring about the necessary change so you can leave behind what doesn't belong there, and that you can form the tribe that is necessary for you. I have been saying this all month. I have been saying this last month. We are in a time where each of us need to forge the proper alliances, find our soul family, the people that you came here to be with, to align yourself on this larger mission that we are all going on to change and shift the world. The planets are here saying, we got your back, but it's your responsibility. It's my responsibility to actually be the change we want to see in the world. The change is coming from the inside. There is a fire burning within us, and it's asking us to be the fire. Be the fire, so that what is necessary can automatically project out of you. It doesn't even take any effort. The effort is in the self, finding that hunger and knowing that you're hungry for a bigger experience, finding that tribe, knowing there are people who are here to align with you to allow that experience to happen, leaving behind what is not serving you so that you can serve what is, learning where the conflict is so that you can boldly speak what needs to be said from this divine feminine place, from this place of love and caring, not to fight, but to connect, to say, I need to go in this direction. I can't go in this direction. I have to do this. I cannot do this. This is what this moon is telling us. It is asking for something more from us. It is asking to align with us. It is asking us to be in charge of the nature. It is asking us to be in charge of the children. It is asking us to be in charge of the wellness of the every single day people. We are doing this for more than just ourselves. And where are you in this process? Where do you feel you're being too rigid? Where do you feel like you're being too flippant? Where do you feel like you're rejecting the intimacy? Where do you feel like you are stagnant and there is no fire? All of these areas is asking you to communicate what is necessary so that you can bring about the change in your life that brings about the change in the world. And that is all that I have for you this month. And with that, I will be back with the full energy report for September in September. And until then, I ask that you speak to this moon. I ask that you clear up your throat chakra. If you go on my website, there's a throat chakra course that you can take, and it teaches you how to clear all of your chakras, not just your throat chakra. I'm asking you to align with why you're here. I'm asking you to find your tribe so that you feel like you are a part of something bigger than yourself. And I'm asking you to boldly let go of what isn't serving you. And I'm doing the same thing. And with that, this is where I leave you. I hope you have a fabulous full moon. I hope you have a fabulous month. I will talk to you in September. Comment and below and let me know what you're dealing with during this full moon. If I'm speaking to you, like and subscribe. Again, I'm Candace with A Course in Miracles, signing out.